If Curtis Blaydes does not employ the same strategy he did against Chris Daukaus, which would be a terrible game plan against Tom Aspinall, and he goes to the Curtis Blaydes that fought a Jairzinho Rozenstruik, the Curtis Blaydes that fought an Alexander Volkov, I just don't see Tom Aspinall even able to get started against a Chris Curtis here, or Curtis Blaydes, excuse me. What do you make of this matchup in totality? Because I looked at it this real quick before I let you go. When I was doing a breakdown on Twitch, I was saying either Curtis Blaydes implements his game plan and there's nothing Aspinall can do, or Aspinall implements his game plan and there's nothing Curtis can do. I think it goes one of two ways. But the one thing Aspinall has to worry about 100% of the fight is that shot coming in from Curtis Blaydes. So talk to me, brother. What do you think?
I agree with you, Derek. If it's going to be whoever the man implements his strategy the best and can continue to stop the other guy's strategy, yeah, that's what we're going to see. It sounds like an easy answer, right? But with these two dudes, man, it's the furthest thing from easy, especially because Curtis Blaydes, with each and every single fight he has, he's still growing. He's still improving. He even knows, he's like, yeah, okay, I can't fight. And I was actually watching the interview right before this where he was saying, he's like, I can't force anything. I start forcing stuff like I did in in his last fight against, who was it? It was the Derek Lewis fight. He was talking about the Derek Lewis fight. I was beating his ass for the whole first round. I go and force a shot in the second. That's what happens. You get put to sleep when you start forcing things because they can react. They have more time. They see things happening. And I think he knows that with how slick Tom Aspinall is, he needs to be careful on the feet, man. You can't just be heading in, head down, hands wide. You got to actually, set your things up. He even said a combo, like he's been practicing that. He's like 1, 3, 3, shoot. Like I forget the exact combo he said, but I heard him and I was like, oh, that's something you've been trained in that one. Like that was an ingrained combo. You just didn't make something up. And then the same thing for Tom Aspinall now. You got to worry. This dude gets to your hips and grapples you, ground and pound. Like that, it can very easily disrupt the flow of Tom Aspinall. Now, like I said, I was thinking, I was like, okay, how does this go? Like, does Tom Aspinall have what it takes to put away Curtis Blaydes like he did Andre Arlovski? I don't think so, but I do think it leads to a better fight of how Tom Aspinall handled that, seeing the opposition, seeing the things happen real quick. Curtis Blaydes gets caught up in something very fast that he wasn't able to see coming. Then we're talking first round finish for Tom Aspinall. That's kind of what I'm leaning a little bit towards. But man, it's a very hard one because I do really like Curtis Blaydes as a fighter. Even though he's a wrestler, he's one of the few wrestlers I enjoy watching fight. Man, what do you think?
Well, I'll be honest with you here, AJ. The issue that I have in this whole entire scenario is that Curtis Blaydes still has massive power in his hands. Even though it's clunky, his stand-up does feel a little forced, right? Because then wrestling is what comes natural. The ground and pound, the razor blades, that's what comes natural. And if you remember, in his last fight against Daukaus, after he dropped him with that right hand, he came down, big right hand, and tried to drop an elbow but missed. And I was like, oh, if that elbow would have landed, bro, we would have been in real danger here. But this is the thing. Curtis Blaydes has real power in his hands. Tom Aspinall, as much as I'm a big fan of him, he does have a propensity to pull a Dusko Todorovic to a degree and not bring his guard up. He's a slickster, right? So he likes to use head movement and just duck out of the way. And he did that a couple of times against Andre Arlovski. And I was like, ooh, Andre's about to catch you, man. You got to be careful. So if he does get caught in those scenarios, gets dropped, and then Curtis Blaydes is able to jump on top of him, I mean, that's going to be a rough night. Because as soon as the ground and pound starts coming around, man, you're going to find yourself in some very, very sticky situations. So yeah, I mean, you're right, man. It's whoever implements the game plan the best works. But my question to you is, if Curtis Blaydes does put Tom Aspinall on his back, can he get up?
Ooh, man, against Curtis Blaydes, I really don't think so. I mean, Tom Aspinall, he's good and he's very well versed, but Curtis Blaydes is another animal. Once your back is fully against the mat, he's another animal out there.
And what's crazy is that Tom Aspinall is a huge man, 6'5", 78-inch reach, right? So you would think, oh, he's probably got a big reach edge on Curtis Blaydes. No, man. He's at a reach disadvantage. Curtis Blaydes got the 80-inch reach, 6'4", which is why it's like, why are you a wrestler, bro? 80-inch reach? Like, you're just gifted. You're just genetically gifted. Shout out Sean Strickland. He was just talking about that. He was like, these guys, Israel Adesanya, he's a genetic specimen, but he's just fighting boring. Da-da-da-da-da. I'm not saying Curtis Blaydes fights boring, but I'm saying he fights to win, right? 11 knockouts, 0 submissions, 5 decisions. For Tom Aspinall, 9 knockouts, 3 submissions, 0 decisions. That is the big key right there. If Curtis Blaydes, if this drags out, and I actually don't think this is going to go 5 rounds. I think that this is going to end within the distance. But if this goes 5 rounds, we know Curtis Blaydes has plenty of experience going the distance. Tom Aspinall doesn't. In the case that this does carry out to round 4, round 5, who's going to be fresher, AJ?
Oof, man. I'm thinking Tom Aspinall because I do think he has the cardio to get it done, but he's never been there, so that's the biggest worry right there. Curtis Blades, we've seen him not get tired, but get mentally exhausted, if you will. Like his body's still in it, but he just has this allure to him or this air about him that you can see him kind of deflate at some points. And I do think that mental fatigue also leads to physical fatigue. Just battling stuff on your own, you get a little tired. Like I said, I think Tom Aspinall will do it just because of he's a slickster, man. He's slickster. He's light on his feet. He has all these things going. He's flowy, and when you're flowy and not clunky, you have a little bit more gas going. What do you think? Who gets it done later in the late rounds?
I think Curtis Blaydes, brother. I think Curtis Blaydes, just because at the end of the day, man, defending a takedown arguably probably takes less work than actually trying to initiate a takedown time and time again. But if Curtis Blaydes can get him to where he wants to be, middle of the cage or back against the cage, and just, you know what I mean, stuffed up right there. I mean, I just think it's going to be a lot of work trying to fight out of those positions to get back up to your feet. But last question before we jump into the actual wagers on this fight right here. Tom Aspinall is a very great downhill fighter, very phenomenal downhill fighter. So when he opens up with his combos, I can see the referee stopping this very quickly, especially heavyweights, man. I mean, he does not move like a heavyweight. He's a prototype, man. He's not the prototype, Jake Collier, but he moves like a prototype. So Curtis Blaydes shells up against the cage. Tom Aspinall starts throwing his ridiculous combos on him. Do you think that it's going to be too much for Curtis Blaydes to overcome, too much for him to be able to just sneak in a shot there or something like that?
Not really, because Tom Aspinall isn't the one touch KO monster that we've seen. I mean, he is, don't get me wrong. Any heavyweight is. So any heavyweight is. But would you say he has the same kind of power that a Francis Ngannou has or a Derek Lewis has? And
No.
those are the only two people that have beat Curtis Blaydes in that kind of fashion.
Yeah.
Maybe in general even. But is it in general? How many losses does he have? Yeah, that's
Three.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that's it. So as much as Tom Aspinall, any heavyweight can put you to sleep with one hand, I think Curtis Blaydes has gotten so used to that kind of pressure, I don't see it happening.
All right, brother. Final question. Tom Aspinall currently, and they say this is throughout his career. We have no way of finding that out. But through his UFC tenure thus far, 100% takedown defense. Does that change on Saturday night?
Yeah. Yeah, he's getting taken down.
Come on,
yeah.
brother. What are we talking about here? But if he doesn't, we know he's the real deal. And Tom Aspinall, if you're watching this, brother, and you win, I take all of this back. But you know what I mean? For the meantime, this that's still my boy, man. This is the strategy, this is the analysis, and that is your main card. So, or your main event right there. So, AJ, let's talk about these wagers real fast. Plus 300 for the TKO prop on Curtis Blaydes, plus 325 for the decision prop. Clearly, if it goes to a decision, they like Curtis Blaydes. If it goes to a TKO, though, Tom Aspinall has the best odds, or the lowest odds. Plus 180 for the TKO, plus 550 for the submission. You have to watch out for that submission because it's definitely on the board. It's on the board of possibilities right there, plus 500 for the decision. How do you see this fight playing out in terms of a methodology? Who wins it? Clearly Tom Aspinall in your eyes, but how does he win it?
Yeah, that's what I've been battling this whole time because I for some reason I don't see him knocking out Curtis Blaydes. I can see him like a TKO, like, puts too many hands on him and the ref comes in and stops it. Yeah, but I don't see a straight cold knockout. So I'm kind of avoiding that TKO KO finish. And I don't really want to play it safe with the decision because I do think, the error of him not going for the long-winded effort and long-winded me trying to think it through. I'm going with that plus 550 submission, brother. 550 submission,
Okay.
round 2.
Okay, and the over and under is 3.5, so you're taking the under on that one, brother. Interesting. Submitting Curtis Blaydes. Interesting right there. Well, I'm rolling with the TKO prop on Curtis Blaydes. I don't see this fight going to a decision right here. If these two heavyweights go to a decision, there's no hope or promise for the heavyweights ever again, right? So yeah, I'm taking that plus 300 TKO prop right there. But I mean, let's be honest here, AJ. I know you have to pick, right? We have to pick a methodology. But if you're saying, do you think the money line is a better overall pick than that plus 550 submission, or how are you seeing it?
I mean, kind of, because it is Tom Aspinall can win in a multitude of ways, so that's why the money line pick is a little bit better.
Sure.
But being at that minus 135, I don't really see too much value in it. If you are going to go a value pick, then I just go off of that TKO. But I like switching up a little bit for this one. So I don't think it might be the safer move, but I don't think it's the wiser move, if you will.
Okay, folks, and just so you know, and this is not something I was able to show as a graphic on the screen. This is what I'm looking down right now. I'm just looking up the number. The most value in terms of a play for this bout right here, I like this fight to end within the distance, right? Not go the distance. So the odds on that are minus 270 right now on William Hill, Nevada. Wherever your local sports book is, take that play. Minus 270 for not going the distance. I don't see this one going the distance. So we'll leave that at that. That is your main event right there.